What's up, everybody? It is week 3, Notre Dame versus Purdue coming up here in just about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes. Thank you guys for joining us. We're the Leprechauns, and we're going to talk and get you guys ready for the upcoming tilt against the Purdue Boilermakers in-state rival. Not really even a rival, but in-state other school. Have you guys have had a week to mourn the loss to Texas A&M. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling about this game? A lot of the pundits out there are saying that Purdue's really good and that it's going to be a test for the Irish. I think it'll be a test, but I think that the Irish will pull away late and probably win this game fairly comfortably. I hope so, anyways, because I don't think I can handle another heart attack special. So, Notre Dame coming off the 1-point loss to Texas A&M last week. Purdue coming off of, what was the score? 40-20 loss.
33-17.
33-17 loss to
USC.
That team in SoCal. It's going to be two teams that have not started off the way that they had hoped. Of course, Notre Dame, preseason top 10 on just about everybody's list. Preseason playoff contender. Are we still in the playoffs? Are we not? At this point, it really doesn't matter. We just need to go out there and get a win as we're starting off the season 0-2. Nate, give us a little bit on who to look out for on the Purdue side of things.
Yeah, Purdue is 2-1, as we said. First loss coming at home last week to the Trojans. Their best player offensively is Ryan Brown. He's kind of like I'd attribute him to sort of a Riley Leonard quarterback, throws, but he can also run a little bit. He's had a few issues with interceptions. Last week he had 3 against USC. Their defense is really good too. They had a good defense last week. Their best players is going to be their linebacking unit. They blitz a lot with their linebackers. Both linebackers have at least a sack this year, a couple tackles for losses. D-line's pretty good, a little inexperienced. That's their offense. They're bringing back Devin Mockabee, their running back. He's not super crazy good. He's not going to burn you, but he's more of a bell cow running back.
Okay. Yeah, it's we've heard some rumblings about some things going on at practice this past week that Coach Freeman's been significantly more involved in the defensive side of things. I don't know if that means he's going to be more involved in the scheme or the play calling, but Coach Freeman will be involved. It sounds like he's been involved this past week on the defensive side of things, which is great because I think, we can sit here for hours in this entire show and talk about how bad Chris Ash has been. We know that. He knows that. Freeman knows that. The entire world knows that. At the end of the day, I'm just hoping the players can rise above and get back on track because these guys are way too prideful to
lay down and die.
To lay down and give up. You got KVA, who's been absolutely balling out. Drake Bowen has kind of been one of those where it's been, some people think he's had a great year. Some people think it's been a little difficult. I think he's played fine. He probably would tell you himself that he hasn't played at the level he has. In fact, he has said that. But I think Drake Bowen has a big game today along with KVA. And then I'm really excited, actually. I know this sounds weird, but I'm actually very excited to see how the secondary does today. For those of you that may have forgotten, we definitely didn't because it's a major pain in our butt, which is that Adon Schuler is going to miss the first half because of an absolute trash targeting penalty last week. So he'll miss the first half. Haven't heard an update on, oh my gosh, who's our other safety? Corner. Leonard Moore. I believe he's playing.
I don't think he's on the.
He's not on the injury list, so that's good. So we'll be down one starter with Adon Schuler. Heard some rumblings that Christian Gray may be playing nickel and not the starting corner. Maybe you see Mark Zachary there. Maybe you see somebody I'd like to see today. Just give him a look. Why not? Is Dallas Golden, the much hyped he's a freshman, but absolute phenom on the field. He's really something special. One of our guys here, Troy Meehan, just said KVA needs to be on the field a lot more. Same with Tay Johnson. I'm going to pin that because, Tay Johnson, for those of you who don't know, Brun Tay Johnson, he's a local Indiana kid, very close to South Bend. We've been fans of Tay for a long time, and this is his time to really show that he can be somebody that the Irish defensive staff can rely on.
Freeman talked pretty high of Tay all of spring and even this last week during some of the meetings.
Yep.
He said this is a big opportunity for Tay. So, I'm very excited. One position I'm really excited about today is I think the D-line feast.
Same.
You saw them, start to get a little bit better last week. It's just a slight improvement every week. And no offense to Purdue's O-line, but they're not Miami's O-line. They're not Texas A&M's O-line. So close. I could easily see, 3, 4, maybe even 5 sacks today.
Matthew Rose says we need to get Love more involved too. Yeah, there's never a bad time to have J-Love be involved in the run game. Jadarian Price, I think, is going to have a big game today too. You just can't keep those guys down. And they had good games last week.
Yeah.
They both had, I think they both rushed for a couple tutties and close to, if not over 100 yards. Can you pull that up actually, please, real quick? The stats from last week. I'm pretty sure they were both under 100. Let's get back to some of the comments here. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Catholics versus convicts on X. Let's go, baby. Absolutely. We appreciate Catholics versus Cons. If you're not following him, he's a really good follow. It's CATHBSCONF and then Shamrock. Really good follow on Twitter. Mike Vergono says, let's get back on track. Go Irish. Exactly. It doesn't matter what's going to happen in 2 weeks in Arkansas. Doesn't matter what's going to happen after that against Boise State, SC in a few weeks. Any of that. What matters today is Purdue and beating the living, out of Purdue, rolling them off the tracks, and keep your stupid drum at home.
162 combined yards for Levin Price last week, 4 total touchdowns between the two.
Neither of them went over 100 though, right? It was like 80 and 60 or something like that, or 80 and 70.
J-Love was at 94 rushing yards. So.
Okay, so 90-70 split, something like that's not bad.
Yep.
Amber Sullivan, good friend of ours. Hey guys, go Irish, beat Purdue. Hoping for a major bounce back game today. We have to see some serious defensive improvements this week as we look ahead to Arkansas. The offense just needs to keep it together and watch the penalties and protect Carr. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it is. I would just take out the look ahead to Arkansas because at this point, it doesn't even matter what Arkansas does. We just need to get on the board. I'll be honest, it's incredible to me that we're 0-2 and we're still ranked in the top 25. I personally would have loved to have seen us not in the top 25. That way they can battle back. Some may say, hey, we need to be in the top 25 to have to keep moving up in the top 12 so we can get in the playoffs. At this point, I don't care. They just need to fight back and keep winning games. It doesn't let everything else fall into place.
I saw a pretty cool post by Notre Dame Barstool this morning. It was every remaining opponent that we had in sort of like a bracket tournament style.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it would be beat this team, beat this team, beat this team, beat this team, and then talk about playoffs.
Sure.
That should be the mindset right now.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Playoffs are in what, 3-4 months? There's no reason to think about playoffs right now, especially at 0-2. Get our first win today.
Somebody that was inside the stadium last week at the game, one of our other admin, Wayne Smith on YouTube. By the way, please follow us on YouTube. Hit the like button and subscribe. Wayne Smith says, make it loud again. A&M must have had 10 false starts last week. There was a lot, and I got to hand it to the crowd, man. Yeah, there was a lot of A&M tickets sold last week, and we were kind of getting on the fans and all that, but you guys showed up, man. If you were in that stadium last week, give yourself a pat on the back because it certainly was a hostile environment for Texas A&M, and I don't care if we're playing, the Sisters Lady of our perpetual help. We need to have a home field environment for the Irish to where people fear coming to Notre Dame. Now, I know that a lot of people say, no, we want to welcome them to Notre Dame. Sure, before the game and after the game, but during the game, it's war. Let's see. Steve Franchi, do you expect Freeman to be more involved in the defense today? Absolutely. I don't know if you're going to see him necessarily playing calls and calling in the plays to the guy with the microphone, which is Drake Bowen. But I definitely think he was involved in practice, and I think you're going to see a completely different atmosphere, mindset, intensity. I really do. I think we're going to surprise some folks today on defense because Purdue is Purdue, but they have a good offense, like Nate said. They've got a couple guys that can make some plays, so it'll be a decent test. Let's see. Bill Hackett, we don't have to be the best team in the country today, just the best team in the stadium, and that's from his coach, Coach Lou Holtz. Bill Hackett, our good buddy, 1988 national championship kicker, and just one of the best dudes in the world, really. Troy Meehan, Tay Johnson is starting today. Love it. I hadn't heard that yet, but that's great if that's the case. Ace Dillard says, go Irish. Boiler beat down today. Have to make it happen. Agreed. I think it's gonna be a fun game, guys. Let's have some fun with this. At the end of the day, again, we said it 20 times last week on the pod. They're still student athletes. They're still human. And although we've had these high expectations, we're only 2 games into this thing, and there's still plenty of time to turn it around. And if we've seen one thing from Freeman, I think one of my things I really admire about him is his resilience from adversity. So joining us just a little bit late, we're going to bring on our buddy here, Jeff Strebejak, one of our admin with Dos Leprechauns and a football knowledge guy. Connoisseur. Jeff, can you hear us?
Yeah. What's going on, guys? How are you?
All right, we got good, man. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I hopped on late.
You're good. I know you're coaching Little League and Pop Warner and all kinds of stuff. So we appreciate you making the time as always.
Most definitely.
We started off just like, everybody else talking about the defense. So what are you hearing, rumor on the streets about how things might look a little bit differently today on the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, I think it's more or less, it's going to come down to like a day of reckoning or a great awakening of what makes Notre Dame football, especially on the defensive side of the ball, tick, and it's man-to-man coverage and getting after the quarterback. The front four, what we've been given is just simply not doing the job, and it's allowing a lot of time for quarterbacks to make decisions. And when you allow that, uh, we give up 40 points, 40 plus points, excuse me, and we give up 27 points to Miami per se. But when we dig our feet into the ground and we start going after the quarterback, we start seeing what we've seen in the past 3 years with the Al Golden type defenses, and just the Notre Dame rough. Let's get after the quarterback. Let's get after him. Let's fill the gaps. We're not sitting back on our heels waiting for the running backs to come because we're sitting in zone coverage. Now, am I saying zone coverage is going to be completely shot out the door? No, but I think there's going to be a different look for the team today. I think we're going to see a more three linebacker look, maybe, where we might use the rover position because we just have to get someone rushing the quarterback off the edge. And if it's going to be KVA, I like our chances against anyone in the country. If it's Drake Bowen, I like our chances against anyone in the country. If it's Jalen Sneed, I like our chances. Those guys are physical, they're fast, and they move. And I think we're going to see a lot of blitzing because they have Ryan Brown at quarterback who he'll move around a little bit. Around a little bit. The Purdue had 2 turnovers in USC's red zone. I don't know if you guys kind of went over that already. They lost that game by 2 scores. I mean, you put that math together. They're beating a USC team that's supposedly got a lot of talent on their roster. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to see man and we're going to see a little bit more of linebackers going after the quarterback and giving that 4-man rush a little bit of help. But don't be surprised if we see some new faces on the defensive line too, because I think that's something that we need to change as well. From the standpoint of guys, we got to see something work. So, go ahead.
To your point, one of the names that we mentioned here, just as we were getting started on the defensive side of the ball, I want to see Dallas Golden, man. Let's get that athlete out there to make some plays.
Yes. I think he's been talked about by Freeman. I think Freeman named every defensive back in the room as pretty much available to play nickel. I'm not going to throw shade at Carson Hobbs. I just think that Carson Hobbs showed that he just isn't ready to be that guy in that nickel position for an every down situation. So why not split it? I mean, you got Mark Zachary, you got Dallas Golden. They mentioned Ben Minnick, and of course Devontae Smith, where we're gonna hope Devontae Smith's at full health here, because I like his veteran presence. Especially with Jalen Stroman being out, we're gonna see Tay Johnson playing
yes, sir.
free safety. So I like seeing the young faces, and I am not opposed to seeing new faces on the defensive line either to mix things up, to see who could get through, to see who could plug lanes.
You and I talked about this offline, Jeff. I really want to see, and this is where we're switching gears a little bit here, but I just want to see a rotation at D line, man. Like you've seen Jared Dawson and Gabriel Rubio, who again self disclosure here, we love Gabe Rubio, but if you really look at it, if you look back to the Texas A&M game, which I sadly did, Gabe Rubio and Jared Dawson, when they're in there together, you start to see some things happening in the backfield. You start to see some push. You start to see some panic on the quarterback side of things. So keep Jared and Gabe in there as long as you can. Rotate in Onye and Donnie Heinisch. But at the same time, man, I've been so impressed with both Jared and Gabe when they're out there. So I'd love to see more of those guys.
Absolutely.
Get
I'm a big fan. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we talked about it a lot last week during the game. Like, when Marcel Reed had to go out of the pocket, he did not look comfortable at
Mm-mm.
all. You know, he had so many missed throws where he truly just panicked and threw it up. You know, if you can do that to Brown, I don't think he's as good as Marcel Reed. I think Marcel's a pretty good
No.
quarterback. So I mean, if you can do that to Brown, you're gonna have turnovers all over the field today.
Yeah.
I was pulling up the stats from last week against USC, and as Nate mentioned earlier in the show, Ryan Brown's no slouch. He went 24 for 39, 305 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks, which one of those picks turned out to be a pick six, which when you look at the score, 33-17, that pick six they had in the end zone, this thing could have been 33-20, 27-24, and that thing, or 26-24, and that could have been a totally different game. Ooh, Wayne Smith with the comment of the day so far. He says on YouTube, Wayne Smith says, more Sevillano. Where's Sean Sevillano, man? That dude is a friggin' tank. Put him in there and clog it up a little bit for the linebackers.
To Wayne's point, I mean, put in, it's not put in, it's just see what Armo Mukum could do too. Like
Sure.
I'm tired of hearing his name as well. Just like Armel Mukum was supposedly ready last year, and Sean Civiano was supposedly ready last year to be called on when we were deep into our playoff run. I mean, I would assume a summer and or a winter and into spring into summer camps has gotten these guys a little bit stronger, a little bit better, a little bit more in tune. I know we changed coordinators, but for defensive run fits, I mean, it's kind of plain and simple here.
For
It's
sure.
on those inside guys, get after the quarterback, get after the
Uh,
running back, plug the lanes.
so Uncle Sean Hagan also on YouTube said, if we're going to go zone, we have to tighten it up. Too much cushion. I think that goes without saying. I think we've all been seeing that. The frustration of seeing a guy like Leonard Moore, Christian Gray, Carson Haas, Mark Zachary playing catch up. It blows me away. We've got athletes that can go out and make plays. You saw Leonard Moore's one-handed ridiculous interception last week. Those
Yes,
guys are all capable of making those kind of plays. They're just being put in bad positions, in my humble opinion.
100%. And I think we caught ourselves too many times chasing out of zone coverage instead of containing inside zone coverage. We were chasing because we would be giving up crossing routes where they just bust through the seams. So it's going to be a challenge moving forward to see how well we hopefully continue to adapt to a zone scheme, but we're gonna have to, like Sean said, tighten up.
Bobby Walker has a good question here, and I think this is something we can talk about a little bit. Is curious if we're believing that it's more so the defensive players making the defense look bad, or if it's Ash. Freeman kind of pointed to the players more than Ash. I would say in Freeman's press conference right after the game, he wasn't pointing the fingers necessarily. He's doing what he has to do. He's the head coach of Notre Dame football. He made a hire that I think he already regrets. But he's not. Freeman's not a Brian Kelly. He's going to come out and say this exact person right here cost us the game. This exact coach right here cost us the game. He's got to be diplomatic still. I know it sucks, and I know that's not what we want to hear. But the reality is, he's not going to go out there and just say, "Hey, Chris Ash, come over here real quick. You're effing fired." Now, if he does that in the behind the scenes, we'll all rejoice. But at the same time, he's not going to do that in person. I think Freeman is very well aware that we're not being successful on defense. And he's going to, I think you're going to see that he did a lot this off week to fix that. Jeff, I know you got a lot to say on that one.
As a Marcus Freeman fan, and as a Marcus Freeman, I listen to every press conference. If not right at that time, but later in the day, Marcus was dropping subtle nuggets in his press conference about the execution of the players, but always coming back to the coaches preparing the players. So it was always small, subtle words that it wasn't Marcus blaming players. I know we have nightmares because that's what Redface used to do. And he made it a point to point out anyone but himself. Marcus is going to take full accountability, and a lot of people get tired of it. tune and coo myself sometimes because it's like, oh, we talk about execution, we talk about preparation, we talk about this, we talk about that. That's Marcus saying things that isn't going to get out and make him or his players or his coaching staff look bad. So I believe that execution is on the coaches, like he mentioned, and I think he's pointing out a certain someone where if we aren't executing in a certain area, I'm going to step in. Well, I think we all know who we're stepping in on
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what we're going to try to get better. So that's my personal take on that. That's just kind of my tidbit on what Marcus did. And he kind of did the same thing with Jared Parker, where it was kind of a behind closed doors things where Parker kind of became a lame duck, and they ended up sticking him up in the box. Where it's like I could foresee Chris Ash getting this kind of treatment fairly soon if there's not drastic changes. I'm saying 2 games have been really, really bad, but if we get to today and moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if we get that kind of treatment with Chris Ash.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's a great take on the matter. So I appreciate you giving that to us here. All right, let's switch to the offensive side of the ball. I think everybody's been pleasantly surprised by what we've seen out of CJ Carr. I wouldn't say I've been pleasantly surprised because I knew he was going to come in and be a dog. CJ Carr fan club president right here. Um, what do you think we're going to see today? Do you think Carr is going to be able to continue to progress, if not, take that next step? Running back wise, are we going to? Where's Aeneas Williams? We're going to see some Aeneas Williams today. We can see some Jabron Payne. What do you think?
I think we're gonna try to run the ball down their throats at will. We got to remember that this is not a Ryan Walters team that kind of laid down last year. Barry Odom's coaching this team, and Barry Odom has a lot of respect from me because Barry Odom goes to program. He's been a well seasoned vet. He is going to adapt and have a prepared defense for Notre Dame. I just think up front, I think our athletes, I think our quarterback at this point is comfortable, and we all know what our running backs could give us. I think we're going to try to establish the run game quick because Purdue's front four, and then Purdue's front four on offense. I know front five in their offensive line is very poor, but I also know that Purdue's front four isn't what they were previous. They do have a D tackle that does clog up the lanes that they got. That's a transfer, and they got a linebacker that Odom brought in from UNLV where he was. Um, but that's kind of it for their defense. I think CJ is going to be able to get his throws off and have time. I think he had a sufficient amount of time last week. I don't think he had a ton. Like, it's not like he had Marcel Reed time, but he had a good amount of time where he was holding the football and trying to make his reads. So I think we're going to see ground and pound like we did last year, where we got that early touchdown quick with Jeremiah Love just kind of saying like bye off to the races. And we're going to try to establish that and really try to pop the balloon quick with Purdue's hopes, especially at a home stadium that's going to be not hostile, but I know Notre Dame Stadium is not going to be in the uh, into the very happy mode. They're gonna be anxious. They're gonna want to see us score the first drive. They're gonna want to see our defense sack the quarterback. There might be a standing ovation for that because that's our fan base. They're gonna want to see results quick, and I think Notre Dame has prepared this week, and they will execute this week to do that.
Nate, what's your take on the offense? What do we need to see? What do you need to see to show that continuous improvement?
Yeah, I want to, like Jeff said, I want to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. I also want to continue to keep CJ Carr relaxed. Next week we go to Arkansas, so I would like to see some more confidence in CJ. He's already like we've said, he's already looking confident. One of my favorite things about CJ is when they watch back on replays and you can see his eyes looking at the different reads, looking off of
Yeah.
a read and then going to another one. It's one of my favorite things, honestly. But yeah, I mean, whenever you can just give the ball to J Love and Jay Price, it's it's good for business, and the offense is going to be humming.
The player I think Jeff you were talking about that Coach Bowden brought over from not Bowden, what's his name? Odom, sorry.
Odom.
Coach Odom brought over from UNLV was Manny Powell, their linebacker.
Yes.
He's a good football player. I
Yes.
was looking at his stats. I remember seeing him.
He's a Gorman kid.
He is Bishop Gorman out of Las Vegas. He started his career actually with Arkansas. Didn't have a great freshman year at UNLV last year, guys. He had 58 total tackles, 29 were solo, and 3.5 sacks. So he's no slouch. Watch out for number 16, their linebacker.
91 was the other one that I was pretty impressed by after watching the USC game. Seemed like a stronger upfront defensive tackle. So he's another one that's those two are kind of were kind of the big ones for me. Because
it's CJ Nunnally is the D lineman you're talking about, number 91. He's had a pretty good. He's getting after the quarterback. He has 2 sacks already this year, but that was against the likes of SIU and Ball State.
Sure.
Drew Pine led. No wait, Drew Pine's
Bowling Green.
He's
Bowling Green.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, so the Nunnally, the nanny kid, pretty good football players. But as I look at their D line, they're definitely not as big as the other teams that we faced so far this year. Definitely not as athletic. So this should be our breakout game on both sides of the ball. I'm really hoping that's what we see. And it's yet to be seen. I mean, we were watching the first half of Syracuse at Clemson, and Syracuse absolutely dominated Clemson in the first half. And I mean, Syracuse is a good team, but I don't think anybody saw that coming. So I think it's become more competitive since the game's gone on. But you just never know what you're going to get from guys, and Clemson's at home, so you just never know. I think college football parity nowadays has made it both very enjoyable, but also a stress basket for Notre Dame fans. All right,
definitely.
Let's close this thing out. Quick little show today. Let's close this thing out by saying your players of the game. Not after the game, we're all talking about these 2 players, one on offense, one on defense. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm gonna go and be completely biased on defense, and I'm gonna say Drake Bowen's gonna have a huge game for the Irish, and I don't care what people think, because the kid has a tremendous amount of talent, and he has shown it in spurts this year where he has played some damn good games, but everyone keeps looking at the negatives. People need to understand the Mike linebacker position and what Drake's assignments are, where he's more of a vocal leader, and his assignments are a lot different than rushing the quarterback off the edge. And the comparisons that we see with him and a particular linebacker, there doesn't need to be a comparison. There doesn't need to be a comparison because I think they need to coexist on the same field. I think there's a 34 and there's a 27 on the team, and I think they need to be on the field at the same time because they play together well. Done. Offensively, I think I went Eli Reardon for the Miami game, and I almost want to take him again because I think he's like slippery on defenses where he's just finding himself open for big plays. Eli Reardon, I'm gonna take my hand off of that. I'm gonna say Jeremiah Love just absolutely just does some crazy blank today and starts just running the ball at will and like scoring almost every touch. Like I could see that happening as well.
Okay, so Jeff's going with Drake Bowen. Super surprised he went that route, and Jeremiah Love on offense. Obviously, huge sarcasm on the Drake Bowen pick. But yeah, Nate, who's your offensive player of the game? Who's your defensive player of the game?
I'll go offense first. I'm gonna keep firing at Jaden Greathouse.
Please do.
At some point, it's got to work. At some point, defense. I'm gonna go with Bubakar. I don't think Purdue's offensive tackles is even close to as good as Miami's or Texas A&M's. And even against those two, he was getting through sometimes, just not able to get to the quarterback. So I could see Bubakar getting 2, maybe even 3 sacks. Who knows?
You took my offensive pick. I was going to say it's time to have a great house party. T-shirt time?
Stop.
Okay,
stop.
I tried. Anyway, no, I'd say great house, but since Nate took it, I'm going to go a little bit of a wild card here, and I'm going to say Jadarian Price. I think that Love
I like
gets some
that.
rest, but I can see Jadarian Price. I love the way Jadarian Price runs. He reminds me so much of Dexter Williams, who was one of my favorite players
Yeah,
for the Irish ever.
that's a good
Um,
that's a good comp.
I think Jadarian Price goes crazy, and I'm going to stop cursing. You're welcome. I'm going to stop cursing Bryant. Oh my God, Bryant Young. Bryce Young. Holy cow, seeing about his dad.
Right.
I'm going to quit cursing Bryce Young, even though I want to reserve the right to say that I told you so. But anyways, my player of the game is going to be Gabe Rubio. I really do think he's going to get a sack today. I think he gets a sack today, and I think you continue to see him putting pressure on the quarterback, getting after it, and really helping to free up those linebackers to go fly around and make some plays.
Front four pressure. Front four pressure is what we want.
Yes. Yep. This is a get right game, and I don't care who the opponent is. This is a get right game. If it was Arkansas this week instead of Purdue, it's a get right game. And this is where you really see, are these guys are we gonna be competitive down the stretch, or is this gonna be a season that we're kind of, hey, is this a rebuild? And I hate to say that word, but I don't think Notre Dame's ever gonna be in rebuild mode again, because Bavakwa has said, we're gonna spend money to bring these guys in. We're gonna spend money to bring in the best. So I think we're off and running, and I think this is the launch point. So excited for today.
Our playoffs start today, boys. I saw Andy Barstool posted. It's a single elimination bracket, 1 by 1 of each of the teams we play up until the college football playoff. And if it goes our way, if we rattle off 10, so let the lords of college football playoff have our chances, do the math, whatever the hell they do, vote on it. Or we don't make it, and at least we say that we made changes.
We control our own destiny, bottom line. We control our own destiny, bottom line. That's it. That's all there is to it. We control our own destiny, good or bad. So, Jeff, thanks as always, brother. We love you, and we'll be texting offline. And have a great day, and go Irish.
Definitely go Irish, guys.
Later, dude. Okay. All right. I didn't mean to ban you if I did accidentally there. Sorry. Okay. A couple comments to close out here. Fighting Irish Faithful, who had a ridiculous comment here a minute ago saying Purdue would win because of math. Who uses math to analyze football games? I mean, what kind of nerd does that? Anyway, Amber Sullivan says, I agree with Troy Ori and Price Love. Bobby Walker, man, you guys are right here with me. Great house and Price. Boom. Absolutely. Sheila Allen, the price is right. Heck yeah, all day. Bobby Walker, let's go. Let's see. Fighting Irish Faithful. Is that greater than or less than? It's greater than. Jeff's math greater than Fighting Irish Faithful's math. Yes, I agree, because Fighting Irish Faithful doesn't think we landed on the moon either. Go figure. Troy Meehan, go Irish. Ace Dillard, go Irish. We're going to close it there, guys. Thanks for jumping on. We'll see you in about 5 hours for post-game, hopefully victory and celebration. Yeah, I think the game's going to be games at 12:30. It'll be about 4 hours. Yeah, give or take. The game's going to be 4 hours? We're going to, well, maybe not. We're going to run it down their throats. Anyways, we'll see you guys in about 4.5 hours. I'll meet you in the middle. 5 hours. For some hopeful celebration, hopefully not therapy, because I'm not a therapist and I can't go 3 weeks in a row of therapy. So 4 weeks in a row. I didn't really want to talk about that. All right, Bobby Walker, last comment. Price with 3 TDs today. Book it. See you guys after the game. And on that, we're going to close it out. Thanks for watching Del Leprechauns. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. Smash that subscribe. Smash it. Go Irish, guys. Have a great day.